I want to insist on that because it's super important to assess fairly the fact that our former model is over. And this is not a question of adjustment. This is not the same world, 2024, 2025. And on top of that, we are making the same mistakes on top of the key elements I mentioned. We are over-regulating and under-investing. So just if in the 2 to 3 years to come, if we follow our classical agenda, we will be out of the market, I have no doubt. So I think what we have to deliver in the 2 to 3 years to come is capital market union. My view is that we have to rush on energy beyond what we already decided, which will be implemented for 2026, which will avoid the big peak and the instability of the energy market we had during the past few years. We corrected that, but we have to go much faster and further. And we need this investment shock I mentioned. And I think the simplification agenda and let's say, pause in terms of regulation, but even deregulation in some issues, it's absolutely critical.
Can you have any investment? Can you have that investment shock without issuance of joint debt?
I think the best way to deliver is not to create big trauma at the beginning by experience.
But you persuaded the Germans before. Can't you do it again?
This is true, but I was. If I want to be fair, I was a little bit helped by a colleague called COVID-19, and it changed the reality. But what I think we have an external systemic shock. I think we have to assess that. During the pandemic, we all experienced a symmetric shock for all our economies. And this is why we made this move with Chancellor Merkel. And I think it was a unique move, and this is really, for me, a fundamental change of our EU. Now, I want us to be totally aware of the fact that we are living a symmetric shock on our economies whose scale and magnitude is underestimated. Because the reallocation factor is huge. Look at the chemical industry in Europe, completely being reallocated because of IRA I mentioned. If you don't deliver the level playing field agenda, we will be super happy with REACH as a good regulation for European consumer, but for no more existing chemical industry. And it will be the same for steel. It will be the same for, the existing business we have because of energy costs and over-regulation.